It's a very good night for Ghana, a very good win for the Black Stars far away in Bamako. And these are the sort of games that literally turn the fortunes of a national team around. It's been a very torrid few matches for the Black Stars, from the AFCON to the friendly matches in Morocco and all that. But then Otuado comes in and it is a big 2-1 win in Bamako. This is a very refreshing win for the Black Stars, and the World Cup qualification hopes has been turned around. This is a game that a lot of people went in as fans with so much apprehension, anxiety, doubts. But like we said, we've always kept on saying throughout the weeks that if the Black Stars want to play, and when they decide to play, no national team on the continent and Kebeye fight. If we get our things right, this is how we are going to come out with results. You know, people have issues with how the Black Stars played, but let me start on this note. I mentioned this, so I want to be clear. I said this throughout the week, that I don't care about good football. I said it in this particular game. I mentioned on the same channel and on radio that Otuado has said he can assure us of good football, but he can assure us wins. And I'm saying that the World Cup qualification is non-negotiable. 2026 World Cup is non-negotiable. So Otuado, I'm begging him, and I begged him twice or thrice on this channel, that on this day, playing against Mali in Bamako with the sort of team they have, I don't care about good football. And that is the tweet that I mentioned, that I don't care about good football on the night. Honestly, I only wanted us to win. People were tweeting so much about how we have been horrible, how we are doing boom boom. And I'm saying, those of you who watched the 2009 game in Bamako, when we won by 2-0, Frederick Kanute and Seydou Keita Dems, this was exactly how the Malians started the game. They were so dominant and dominating across board. But when we got the 2 goals in the second half, we tamed the stadium. We did not need to play an exciting game. And I mentioned 1-2 passes. And when you think that you are in a very difficult position, just clear the ball to safety. And that is the reason why I had mentioned throughout the week that this game in particular, Otuado, it is not time for good football, because you are now setting up the team. A lot of new players you are introducing. The first game away to Mali, who are a very top side in Africa now. What is good football without a win when you are fit? Otoso 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 6 teams on the log. Otoso 5. You don't need good football. You need to find your position. And that is exactly what Otuado did. Commendations to Otto. First of all, let me start by commending Coach Otuado. Meaning, say a lot of Ghanaians have issues. We have a lot of issues to do with how our team set up. But you know what? Commendations to Otuado. This is exactly how I would have set up my team. And even when people were saying that we were not playing well, I kept on saying we haven't been bad. It looks like people don't know about the African game. If you have followed the African game and the World Cup qualifiers, except for teams that are so strong and built over the years, you can't travel away and say you want to dominate the game. You are not the Black Stars of 2008 or 2010. You are not that you can dominate a game and win. Not in venues like Mali, not in Cameroon, not in venues like DR Congo. If you remember the game we played against Shaban Inonde's DR Congo then, Asamoah, you clearly can see how we defended it to our lives and got the draw in DR Congo to qualify for the World Cup in 2006. Exactly how we need to do, and that is what Otuado did. Commendations to Otuado. He got his team tactics correct. Hear me again. Otuado got his team tactics correct. Why am I saying so? Otto knew that the likes of Sinayoko, that Sinayoko guy, was the player. If you travel to Mali today, it is all about Sinayoko. And Sinayoko, because he's been very, very instrumental for AJ Auger in their qualification to the French Le Championnat. Together with Elisha Usu, they are in the same team. And I'm sure that Elisha will practically feed Otuado with how Sinayoko plays, and he is the most popular footballer, one of the most popular in Mali now. So Sinayoko on the left was going to be very tough for the Black Stars. And what Otto did when he played two right backs, people, they don't understand. That Malian player Sinayoko is one of the fastest players in the French Division 1, and they've qualified to the Premier League, the French league now. So you needed to tame that guy, and it was going to be very difficult for Tariq Lamptey alone to tame Sinayoko. And so the only way for Otuado to have been able to block that channel was to play to play defensively and get the right backs there. So if you see Ali Dusedu and you see Tariq Lamptey on that right side, this is coaching, purely coaching. It is not because Otuado has won, but the Black Stars is not the Black Stars of 2008, not the Black Stars of 2010, that you have John Pencil and a reliable right back and say John Pencil is there, so I'm not going to play a cushion. Otuado knew that Tariq Lamptey is not the typical African right fullback who can be rugged and robust and aggressive. Ali Dusedu can be aggressive, but he needs some calmness around him. And you cannot play a three-back in this game because the attack of Mali, Sinayoko and El Bilal and Doumbia was always going to be dangerous for the Black Stars. So you needed to block that channel where the Sinayoko guy, who is very tricky, very pacey, will play. Reason why Sinayoko, who was initially or originally going to play 90 minutes, was taken out. He was taken out of the game because he was not getting the supply, and he literally plays. If you check his heat map in the French Division 1, he plays on the left wing. And for Mali, he's always on the left wing and cutting in. So if you are not a very pacey and intelligent right back, he's always going to make mincemeat of you. Reason why Otto blocked there with two right backs. It is an unusual tactics. I haven't seen it before, that you are playing a game and you have two right backs and they are all playing in the right back position. That is what Otto did, because he needed to block Sinayoko, and he blocked Sinayoko. And Eric Chell took Sinayoko out of the game because at a point he was becoming very, very ineffective in the game. A player that they had relied on him, or they had initially thought that was going to provide them with the supply. So the supplies were not coming from the left. The players on the right were going to struggle because Gideon Mensah was very strong in there. And I come to some of the key incidents in the game. Gideon Mensah to me did very well. There are two issues that's got to do with the foul that came in. I think that Gideon Mensah held his way on the left side very well, at least according to his own standards. But this was a foul in the first place. This was a foul. The referee, I don't know why, decided to waive play on for this Doumbia chance to be lobbed into the box for the first goal for Mali. This, to me, was a clear foul. Gideon Mensah was not in position. He had turned to get into the area to get the ball, but the way he was pushed, 80% of officials will award a foul in favor of Gideon Mensah. But that's it. The goal that was scored was very unfortunate because it was a deflection. But one player that we need to commend so well, this guy has gone through a lot. One player that we need to commend very well is Atizigi. Lawrence Atizigi. Lawrence Atizigi saved Ghana, because I mentioned when the game started that if Mali fails to score early in the game, the pressure will be on them. But the way Lawrence Atizigi, look, this guy has come under a barrage of attacks throughout his career for the Black Stars. He's not a bad goalkeeper, but he's always been conceding. And unfortunately, anytime Ghana loses, there will be a certain Lawrence Atizigi to blame. Even when he's made 10 saves out of 14 and concedes a 4, he will be blamed. But look, the initial stages of the Malians shooting from all angles, we saw the two crucial saves of Lawrence Atizigi. We should not forget, because we've won, we should commend him for how he kept us in the game. 2-3 crucial saves to deny the Malians. And when you do that, there is a certain shiver of fear in the attackers because they know that if they shoot from afar, the goalkeeper is saving. There was a very crucial save, a Gordon Banks sort of save that he made, not trying to hype them, but they've won in a very difficult venue in Africa. And we need to commend Lawrence Atizigi, first of all, for holding us down when we could have conceded 1 or 2, and that would have been disastrous for the Black Stars. So Lawrence Atizigi did very, very well when the game started. But like I said, these are issues that we need to take into consideration when we criticize the players severely. We need to commend them. We should not forget that we would have conceded 1 or 2 before the 20th minute, but for Lawrence Atizigi. So kudos to him. But we tend to forget about this boy. In tournaments, AFCON, World Cup, games that Ghana has struggled and lost, there is always a pillar. And when we were in Mali in 2009, there was a certain pillar, which was the Rock of Gibraltar. I think that essentially we have a rock. Quite unfortunate that there was a deflection on him that bounced back to the player before going into the net. But look, go and watch the game again. The aggressive nature, the aggression. No, he's a boot for boot defender. Basically, the sort of defenders that Jose Mourinho would like. And I'm glad that Mourinho is going to Fenerbahce. Jiku was it was a standout performance. He's done that over the years for the Black Stars. The game he played against Nigeria in Abuja with Amate reminds me of John Mensah in his heydays. This guy is very solid. This guy, he shocks me, he surprises me, because this is not a player who was born and bred in Africa. A lot of center backs who were raised in France or in Europe tend to be very calm on the ball. It is a contrast between him and Mohamed Salisu. The calmness of Salisu and the aggression of Jiku. Salisu was rather raised in Ghana. But you can watch Jiku and think that this is a guy who has played for Afienya in Ghana before being exported to Europe. No, the guy is basically the pillar in our defense. And when the team starts to gel, I'm sure people will see him more, because there's always pressure on the Ghana team. And we need to commend him for how he stood, because the Malians were 3-4 all the times in the 18-yard box. But because of the pressure with which we watch the game, you don't see who cleared the ball from the 18-yard box. The blocks that Alexander Jiku made in the game was very crucial in getting us to where we are. I believe that the Black Stars have done very, very well. They've done very good for how we played in the game against Mali. I'm not saying that it was an excellent performance, but let's go back to this tweet again. Let's go back to what I said. It wasn't an excellent team performance, but there are a lot of new players in the team, and there was no way Otuado could have said that he's setting up his team to play like Brazil of 1970 or Barcelona of 2009. You cannot do that with new players in Mali under intense and extreme weather conditions and pressure. So this was my narrative going into the game. I don't care about good football tonight. If I'm being honest, just win. And we won. Even when things were difficult, I kept on saying that it wasn't that bad. If you watch the African qualifiers, you will see Egypt, you will see Tunisia, how they won against Equatorial Guinea. Be raggy and get your 3 points. When you get to the World Cup, you can play like the Brazil of 1970. That's what it's about. So we should be very thankful. There were players who stood out today, and we need to commend them. It was a very difficult night for this youngster. Yesterday on Angel Sports, I was saying that people were mentioning names of players who were going to start. For those who watched my video on how we wanted the team to set up, it was basically the same team, but for 1 or 2. And I mentioned that Ernest Nuama is a senior to Simon Adinkra of Ivory Coast. Why is it that people mention the starting 11 for Black Stars and they don't mention Nuama? He's not a young player. And I kept on those who listened to the previous episode of what we did on the Ghana lineup for Mali. And I said, Nuama should not see himself as a young player again, because your juniors from Right to Dream Academy are winning the AFCON. So you are no more a young player. He should prove his might when he gets the opportunity. He came in and it was a torrid first half. Very difficult first half for Ernest Nuama. But Otuado kept faith. Look at the goal. The header. So powerful that the Malian keeper Samasa had no way and chance of saving that. So Ernest Nuama to me had a very difficult game, but when you score a goal away in the World Cup qualifiers, there is no way that you don't deserve the encomiums and whatever you have. So congratulations to Ernest Nuama for how he got that goal and the cross from Salis Abdul Samed, who equally had a very difficult game in the first half, but the cross was inch perfect for a defensive midfielder to get to that end of the field to deliver effortlessly. Such a cross was something that needs commendation. So commendations to him. And this guy, he gets the business done. Tariq Lamptey, anytime he gets into the Ghana jersey, it's not always been easy for him because of where he was brought up and raised and the sort of play. But when he gets the opportunity, he delivers. And it was going to be difficult for him alone to start against Sinayoko. But in defense there, the likes of Dumbia, when they get there, El Bilal and Tariq Lamptey was like a tussle throughout the game. And I think that Otuado got his tactics right when he did with Tariq Lamptey and Ali Duseidu. There was an incident in the game that I will have to talk about. I think that there were issues with some chances that we could have gotten. But before I come to Jordan Ayew, see, this party chance and the way the ball was struck, I think was okay. The ball was struck exactly how any striker would have done. It wasn't just strong enough. There was no power enough for Partey to have gotten this, but that was it. Reason why I commend Otuado was that today was very difficult for Mohamed Kudus. Let's all be sincere. Today was very difficult for Mohamed Kudus. It was very, very difficult for Mohamed Kudus. He literally couldn't penetrate the Malian team, and anytime he tries his tricks, it was difficult. But to get the courage as a coach to take out the most popular player on the continent of Africa now, if I'm not exaggerating, Mohamed Kudus, who can literally create at any point in time, to have the courage and guts to take Kudus, Mayin Ephraim, to bring in Jordan, and to have the courage to bench Jordan and bring him at a point where, look, the Jordan Ayew change to me looks like Jordan coming into the game. He came with fury. He came with anger. Do not mistake or take out the context here. He came into the game with anger and fury. All Banona Nebuafu, not because Yamana Tana bench, but he wanted to prove that he's still the Jordan Ayew. Look at the assist or the pass to Thomas Partey that was saved. Look at that. When he came in, he was so calm, his composure, and the role that the coach gave to him was essentially what he did. Went into that hole behind the two center backs, putting pressure on them and laying passes, and that's how he got that pass to Thomas Partey that was saved by the goalkeeper. Jordan Ayew's substitution to me was very tactical. He came in at the right time and he changed the face of the game. He got the match-winning goal on the stroke of full time, and the composure to strike that when there were 4, 5, 6 Malian defenders behind the ball. That was a master stroke. Jordan Ayew deserves his flowers. He deserves his commendations. He deserves the encomiums. This is something that we should not overlook because it is Jordan Ayew. The guy has balled. Jordan Ayew actually did ball. He balled. He balled on the night. The few minutes that he got, he balled, and he showed that he is Jordan Ayew. Look, it is not easy. I'm saying it again. It is not easy to go into Africa and win away World Cup qualification. Like I was saying yesterday, you qualify by winning away, but it is not easy to win away. Senegal have gone to DR Congo and drawn. So let's commend the team for how things went. This guy, Semenyo has shown that he's very fast. But I'll suggest to Tuado to get a player who is quite clinical anytime he wants to play Semenyo. If he wants to draft to the wings, he should get a player who is clinical, because Semenyo will always overtake or outsmart the defenders. But how to put the ball at the back of the net, he's very slippery. But the chances that he creates and not able to bury them, he needs to be a bit prolific. He needs to be very prolific, or a bit prolific, because he gets a lot of chances. He gets into the 18-yard box. Sometimes he even has to try to win penalties if he thinks that he cannot score. Very fast, and he did quite a good work in the first half. That was good. Abdul Momin came in, the Rayo Vallecano centre back, came into the right back as a centre back, and I mean, he plays across that whole area in defense, and he did quite well to stabilize our midfield. And Ibrahima Sulemana, who came in, the Sunyane Ngolo Kante plays for Kayari. We call him Kante because of his stature and the way he runs. The last few minutes and the substitutions were spot on. We cannot say that was 100% performance, but do you need that? You don't. You don't need that in Africa when you want to qualify for the World Cup. Now, it looks good for Ghana in terms of the groups. Let's check. I want us to check how the group standings are at the moment, because we are going to play on Monday. We have a game on Monday. But before we play that game, we just need to check how the Black Stars are faring on the table. There were games today. In the World Cup qualifiers and in our group too. But wait and see the goals that have been scored, and see the opportunities that Ghana still has if we want to qualify to the World Cup qualifier. We have a game against Central African Republic, who also won. What we need to do is that we have to win our game now. But let's check and see how the groups are standings and the log looks now, because you cannot say that winning in Mali it's easy. Okay, let me check from this TV3 flyer of the table, so you clearly can see. I want us to take a critical look into the table and the goals scored and how Ghana's chances are now after we have won in Mali. So this is it. We are going to play against Central African Republic at home. Mali have played all their 3 games at home. They have played all their 3 games at home. So that is why they are seriously, the Malians are struggling, because they do not think that they had to wait to lose against Ghana in this manner. They have played 3 games instead of 9 points. They have 4, and that's difficult. So these are the groups now. The standings. Comoros have played 2 games and they've won all the 2 at home, so they have 6. Now Ghana have played 3 and we have 6, but then Comoros will play their game against Madagascar, and we have to wait for how that game goes. And the hope will be that Madagascar will either win or draw against Comoro. A draw will be very perfect, so that Madagascar will come to 4 points and Comoros will be at 7 points. But then we have a home game against Central African Republic, and if we win that, we go straight to 9 points, and then Comoros will move to Mali, or Mali will play against Comoros, or Chad will also play against Mali. So these are games that are going to determine how we qualify. But the 2 games that we have in this window, we've won 1. We just need to win the home games against Central African Republic and see how the group will pan. But literally, we haven't been bad. We haven't been bad in the game against Mali. This is exactly how we wanted it to go. Just go there and win. You are not looking for any sort of flamboyant play at this point in time. All you need is to get in there and win the game for Ghanaians. So let's see. But clearly, Ghanaians are happy We are happy because of how the Black Stars have played in Bamako. This was the team in there, a lot of new players, and there was a very strong bench. Osman Bukari was on the bench, Kamal Din was on the bench, Fatawi Isaku, came from the bench, or all these players were on the bench. So it tells you that we have a depth now. We need some of these wins to stabilize the team. But on this note, the Malian coach, he was the one who at the AFCON, was going trending for the heat on his head. This is something that is going to happen tonight also in Bamako. I'm sure that the Malians are quite disappointed, but congratulations again to this man. Congratulations again to Otuado. He got his tactics spot on. We did not need to play like Barcelona 2009 or Man City. We just needed a win to come back into the World Cup qualification fray, stabilize our standing on the log, and begin to build a team. Black Stars of Ghana, congratulations to you. We're waiting for the team to see how it goes in Kumasi against Central Africa. One thing that I need to also touch on, a lot of people have spoken about it, is the fact that the pitch in Bamako was very nice. The pitch in Mali was very nice. That is why the Black Stars had the chance to play the sort of game they wanted to play. Let's be, preparing a very good pitch when they come back in Kumasi, so that Ghana can also have the style of play we can implement or apply the style of play that the coach, requires. Thank you very much for that massive win. The Black Stars is our bloodline. The Black Stars is a team that is difficult to stop supporting, and we believe that we will go to US, Canada, and Mexico 2026. Thank you very much for watching, and congratulations to the Black Stars.